Hello, everybody. Welcome to my next and potentially last video for the Baltimore Ravens. It is officially the end of draft season. The draft ended yesterday. I am recording this video on Sunday, May 1st. It was a very fun last couple of days for the Ravens, which I think is pretty expected. The Ravens have always been a good drafting team, and spoiler alert, this draft definitely lived up to the very high expectations of a very typical Ravens draft. In fact, I think it exceeded those expectations pretty highly. And before we get started on looking at the overall draft, my draft review for the Ravens, I wanted to address a couple of things that I feel like that some people online throughout the media are sort of missing. And I haven't seen this all over the place, so when I say this, I don't mean to call out anybody, but I'm just going to say this right now. I've seen some people that I respect online, that I've always respected their opinion, kind of look at the draft from a pretty flawed angle, and I think it all has to stem from something that has haunted the Ravens franchise for the past 30 plus years now, and it's something that I need to address, is that their wide receiving room is bad right now. Alright, cool. The wide receiving room is bad. The Hollywood Brown trade happened. Hollywood Brown, for those of you who somehow missed it, but, we'll go over it. Hollywood Brown has apparently been requesting a trade for the past 2 years now for the Baltimore Ravens. He has voiced his disapproval of the Ravens offense under Greg Roman, and he didn't want to be a part of it. So the Ravens finally traded him for a first round pick, which we'll get into, and a third round pick 100, for the Cardinals' first round pick. So the trade happened. Yes, the Ravens are looking rather thin at the wide receiving position right now. And it's something I just kind of want to address right now. If you are using the Hollywood Brown trade as a way to take down this draft, I'm sorry. I think you are fundamentally wrong in doing that. I think it's a fundamentally wrong way of looking at this draft and just ignoring all the fantastic picks we're about to talk about. Because just to kind of pull the curtain back a little bit here, guys, I think this is a fantastic draft. I think this is one of the best drafts I've ever seen as a Ravens fan. I don't know if I'll ever see a draft as good as this. And I know it's all meaningless until these guys get on the field. But I'm telling you what right now, in a draft, in a world, in an environment as hard as the NFL draft is to figure out, the Ravens have been pretty good at cracking that code of figuring out how to do very well in the NFL draft. Some teams are still trying to figure that out. The Ravens have been able to crack the code, and I've seen good drafts beforehand. I've seen when I was younger. I didn't see some of the earlier drafts. I'm a little bit young for that. But I've seen talent like Terrell Suggs fall to them. I've seen talent like Haloti Ngata fall to them. I've seen the Ravens trade up to get a generational quarterback in Lamar Jackson. I've seen a lot of Ravens draft picks before. I've seen a lot. I've seen this franchise seemingly steal players from underneath the nose of so many teams, it's even uncountable. But this draft truly has the potential of being something amazing. To me, this is EDC's best draft he's ever accomplished. I think that goes without saying. I think it was a stark contrast from the 2019 draft, which might have been a franchise worst in terms of just getting talent. I think it's just such a stark contrast to what I think is one of the best drafts I've ever seen. And people are letting that that get in the way of a generational draft. People are letting Hollywood Brown's situation get in the way of a fantastic draft. I think that is a fundamentally flawed way of looking at the draft. You can't let the Hollywood Brown situation get in the way of this amazing draft. I don't know about you guys, but I am personally not going to let a 5'9" wide receiver who dropped so many damn footballs, it's unbelievable, who has baked in issues due to his size, his small hands, and his drop issues, who had to be fed the ball consistently to reach over 1,000 yards. And I'm not going to let that get in the way of a tremendous draft class. And so I addressed it. The Hollywood Brown trade does not get in the way of this being a fantastic draft class. In fact, in a weird way, it's a fantastic draft class because of the Hollywood Brown trade. So with that out of the way, I want to discuss this draft as a whole. And I want to discuss this draft without letting the Hollywood Brown trade get in the way of it. The trade happened. I thought it was a steal for the Ravens. I thought Arizona Cardinals gave up way too much to get Hollywood Brown. For a second round pick, I would have done it. But for a first round pick, top 23 pick, that they turned into a top 25 pick, it's just too much value for a guy that has baked in issues. Like, he has baked in issues. He has flaws. This is not DeAndre Hopkins. This is not Tyreek Hill. He's not a true number one alpha wide receiver. He's at best, you're a good, solid number two wide receiver. And honestly, if he's unhappy here, then you know what? Whatever. Like, seriously, out. Get out then if you're unhappy. The Ravens, they would have to do what's best for their team. And honestly, I think it was best for what they have to do. So, that's a lot of talking. It's a lot of words. Let's get that out of the way and let's get into this draft. The first pick was Kyle Hamilton, the safety out of Notre Dame. I obviously thought this was a pretty good pick. If I had to give it a draft grade, I would probably give it somewhere from an A to an A-. The fit is a bit weird to talk about. So, obviously the Ravens are kind of stacked with safeties right now. They have Marcus Williams to play free safety. They have Chuck Clark as their strong side dime linebacker safety. But they also have depth at that position. They have Tony Jefferson. They have Geno Stone. They have Ardarius Washington. They have a lot of depth at safety. So when the pick was announced, I think you guys saw on the first round pick reaction video that I was pretty shocked with Kyle Hamilton. I didn't think they were going to do it. But clearly, this was an insanely high grade they had on Kyle Hamilton. And I think this is potentially the best fit for Kyle Hamilton. I like Kyle Hamilton as a player. I really like him. He is a ginormously long human being. He's around 6'4", 215 pounds. Might be a little bit heavier than that. But he has these pterodactyl-like wingspan, that he uses to just effortlessly wrap up tacklers. And what I was worried about in the pre-draft process was that a team like, say, the top 10 team, say like the Jets, even the Lions could at number 2. I was worried about them potentially putting Kyle Hamilton at free safety, which is not his role. I want him towards the box. I want him towards the line of scrimmage. And guess what? The Ravens are going to put him in that role. There is a way to get, as you can see from this article right here, how the Ravens can deploy Kyle Hamilton. Well, it's pretty simple. You can get Chuck Clark, Kyle Hamilton, and Marcus Williams on the field at all times. You can get them on the field at 3 different times. And it's basically about Kyle Hamilton playing a lot of dime linebacker, playing him towards the line of scrimmage, having him as that potential tight end eraser. Tight ends have given the Ravens trouble in the past. Travis Kelce is pretty much a lock to have over 100 yards against the Ravens every time we play the Chiefs. And Kyle Hamilton, I think, is the key to that going away. And they can play a lot of matchups with him. Mike McDonald's system is also pretty versatile. He can play strong. He can play dime linebacker. And I think he's going to be around the line of scrimmage against early down runs. I think early running downs, I think he's a great run defender. Like I mentioned, his enormous wingspan and his hard-hitting ability allow him to thrive in this almost like kind of like a bigger Jamal Adams type of role. And you can argue if that's really worth a first-round pick. I think it is potentially worth it because I think he's going to have a lot of big plays where it's going to be where I think it's going to be where a team tries to get a screen off on the Ravens. And you have the weapons I think that the AFC has right now. And you have Kyle Hamilton as that eraser type. Yes, he's not going to be playing a lot of free safety. I really could not care less if he's not playing a lot of free safety. The Ravens are going to deploy him in the correct way. And that's why I think the pick is so good, is because I think it's an easy A pick. And it's just, he's going to be playing down towards the line of scrimmage. Use those long arms, use that long frame to play down in the box. And just use him as a potential elite run defender, but also being a heavy hitter for going after footballs. He's also a bit of a ball hawk. He's just an incredible talent. I love Kyle Hamilton. Alright, the second first round pick was Tyler Linderbaum. After trading back from 23, Tyler Linderbaum was always a weird eval for me. He's a little undersized, but I think he's very strong up front. He's very built. He's a bit undersized. Many people have compared him to Jason Kelce, the All-Pro potential Hall of Fame center for the Eagles. He's very built like him. He's a very good starting center day one. Again, the scheme fit is a bit strange because the Ravens do like to run this power scheme. But again, I think going back to the Hamilton thing, I think it was just too good a value to pass up. Like, centers just don't go high, and center is not that valuable. But the Ravens had a need at center. Like, they could have thrown smoke screens at it all they want, but the Ravens had a need at center. Like, that is something that can't be argued. They had a need at center. McCarry, even though some people were good about letting McCarry go into the season, and I felt a little bit good about it too, but I still think that it was a need. And now I think with Tyler Linderbaum and what they did throughout the draft and what they've done throughout free agency, they have now secured an offensive line for Lamar Jackson. They have protected Lamar Jackson to a point where I think he feels comfortable being a surgeon over the middle of the field and basically not having to be this outside the numbers Patrick Mahomes type passer. They can run what they want to do on offense. And I think at the same time, you got to think about life beyond Greg Roman. And eventually, if and when the Ravens do want to move on from Greg Roman and want to move to a more modern system, well, guess what? Tyler Linderbaum is a perfect fit for more of the modern passing game because of his ability to get out and block, because of his athleticism to get out and block from the center position, like his ability to get to the second level, his ability to get on the run. Like, I think he's a great fit for what they want to do. Honestly, I think when I describe him, I think of a potential Alex Mack type of player. And Alex Mack kind of played in more of a Shanahan West Coast offense. I think that's really where Alex Mack thrived. So again, it's a little bit of a weird scheme fit. But honestly, scheme fit aside, he's just a fantastic center. Like, he's mentioned how he wants to be the next Marshall Yanda. Obviously, it's an Iowa offensive lineman coming to the Ravens, so obviously they're going to make that comp. You know, he beat Tristan Wirfs in a wrestling match once back in high school. He's a good run blocker in the right scheme. I think he can be a good run blocker in the Ravens scheme, especially if you do give him help from other spots. He can be a great player, and I think Tyler Linderbaum, the Ravens are smart. They know how to use these players, and you know what? How many times have we complained about centers messing up Lamar Jackson? We've had an issue with Matt Skura, and Bradley Bozeman wasn't perfect either at center. You know what? We have finally solidified the center position. We've been searching for one for years. We have finally solidified it ever since Ryan Jensen left. This is a great fit for the Baltimore Ravens. So, honestly, if the draft had ended today, if the draft had ended with these two picks and they traded all their picks for future years, it would still be a really good draft. But, obviously, it continues. Alright, this day 2 is where it just goes from great draft to, oh wow, this is a fantastic draft. David Ajabo was a player consistently mocked to the Ravens and even to teams above the Ravens before he got hurt during his pro day. He is an amazing athlete. At around 6'5", I think 230 pounds. I think that's around what he weighed in at the combine. He has a Danielle Hunter type build, where it's a little bit lean, but he's so fast off that edge that it's honestly like it's so explosive that times that I was watching Aiden Hutchinson and it was just seeing him be so consistent, and my eyes kind of wandered to the other side, and I'm like, who is that freak coming off that edge? Who is this massive human being coming off the edge? And it was David Ajabo. And honestly, this is a player that if you got after pick 20, it was going to be a steal. And I knew he dropped because of injuries. Obviously, tearing his ACL at his pro day was something we need to discuss. He's not going to play a lot this year, but I think Ajabo goes to the perfect landing spot. He has so many connections to the Ravens off the field that it just made his landing spot so good. Ajabo is high school friends with Odafe Owe. He went to college at Michigan, where his former defensive coordinator, Mike McDaniel, is now the Ravens defensive coordinator. He's played with a Harbaugh before, Jim Harbaugh. And now he gets to play for John Harbaugh. There's so many things that made this Ajabo pick so good. This is an absolute A+ pick. A+ pick all the way around. Yes, he's not going to play this year. A lot this year. I really just could not care. This is a fantastic pick. Alright. Ajabo is a fantastic fit. He's a speed rusher. He's a good run defender. Maybe needs to get better as a run defender, but he needs to. I think he needs to. He's a little bit more raw in terms of just getting more a pass rush plan. But the Ravens have shown an ability to do that, to learn and to teach that. So I personally think it's a great fit. It's one of the best fits in this draft. It's such a good fit for the Ravens. Oh my goodness, it's such a good fit. This is an incredible player for the Ravens, and you get him in the second round. It's just so good. Alright, the round 3 pick in Travis Jones. Guys, this was a player that I consistently hoped that would fall to the Ravens in the second round. And and oftentimes he wouldn't even be there in the second round, where they pick at 45. Guys, he fell to pick 76. For no freaking reason, fell. Travis Jones is one of the most versatile defensive linemen in this whole entire draft class. He can play nose tackle, he can play 3-tech, he can play 5-tech. We saw him talk about that in his introductory press conference. He can play pretty much any position on the defensive line that the Ravens need him to. This is just an insanely good pick here for the Ravens. This is just so good. And already we've had 1, 2, 3, 4 picks that have been great, that have been A or better. Like right now, Kyle Hamilton, A. Tyler Linderbaum, A-. David Ajabo, A+. Travis Jones, A+. Like, we're going straight A's now, ladies and gentlemen. It's straight A's. We're straight A season. David Ajabo is just such a great player. And then it just continues. Daniel Faalele in the 4th round. Are you kidding me? There is no way this was supposed to happen. I would have been fine taking Faalele in like the mid-second, and you get him in the 4th round. No way this guy was supposed to be available in the 4th round. They do it again. They have done it for these past 1, 2, 3 picks. 3 picks. All have been insane value and insane steals. Yes, Ajabo's injury stinks, but he's going to get on the field at some point this year. Jones could get on the field a lot this year, depending around what they want to do with the rotation of defensive linemen. And now Faalele, who could also get on the field this year, unbelievable value. Faalele is a bit of a developmental tackle. He is a massive human being, tested out the gym at the Senior Bowl. He's a former IMG Academy guy. He is an incredible athlete that needs to work a little bit more on his technique. But at this point in the 4th round, who gives a shit? Like, you get Daniel Faalele in the 4th round? Get out of here! So automatically, this is an amazing draft. Like, if the draft had ended right there, this is an A+ draft. Like, value, insane value, absolutely insane value. These 3 picks right here are what makes the Ravens draft class so good. And it just continues. Jalen Armour Davis. Yes, Jalen Armour Davis hasn't really played a lot. He's been injured a lot. But to me, he is the perfect Anthony Averett replacement. He's a developmental corner who has size, speed, athleticism, and is an incredibly hard hitter. And to me, this is just such a great fit for the Ravens. Yeah, he's probably not going to be able to get on the field day one, but honestly, like, I don't really care. The Ravens needed corner depth, and Jalen Armour Davis is great corner depth. Like, he is a very talented player. The injuries really do hurt him, but I think if you can get these under control, like, I think Jalen Armour Davis could be an incredible pick. And that's just value in the 4th round too. Like, he is a very fun prospect to watch. He's got good technique, he's got good length, he's fast. He is literally Anthony Averett. Like, he is such an Anthony Averett clone, it's actually unbelievable. Same college, same play style, same kind of like things that like they were that were concerns with Averett. Incredible value. And then it just continues. Charlie Kolar in the 4th round is an insane value. Kolar is, to me, this team's number 2 tight end. I'm sorry, I like Nick Boyle. At this point, he's an offensive lineman. I like, Patrick Ricard's a fullback. This team has needed a second tight end for like 3 years. Ever since they've traded away Hayden Hurst, they have not been able to find a second tight end that was good enough to play on the field with Mark Andrews. Like, when Lamar Jackson was winning his MVP, they played a lot of 13 personnel, heavy packages with 2 tight ends and a lot of bodies on the field. And the issue is that when they tried to do it in these last 2 years, they didn't have the horses in the back to really play it. Well, guess what? Here's your horse. Charlie Kolar is 6'7", I think around it's like 250 pounds, and like he is the opposite of Nick Boyle. He is athletic, he is big, he is strong, he's a good route runner. He has a really good set of hands on him. And yeah, he doesn't very block all that well. He's not here to block. You have Ricard, you have Nick Boyle as your blocking fullback / blocking tight ends. You needed somebody that can offer you some actual value as in the pass game. And they haven't had it in years. They tried it with Josh Oliver, they tried it with Eric Tomlinson, they even tried to put Patrick Ricard in that role. It just wasn't working. It just wasn't working. Charlie Kolar immediately fixes this issue. He isn't, without a doubt, an A+ pick. If I had to give grades on these last 2 picks, Jalen Armour Davis is probably a B+. Like, I think the injury concerns are very real with him. I don't know if he's ever really going to stay. I don't know how healthy he's ever really going to be. But I think on the field, he's a very good corner, which just injuries just kind of dropped him. So I think that would be a B+ pick as good corner depth. Charlie Kolar is an A pick. Like, I'm sorry, Charlie Kolar is a fantastic pick. It's just, it's so odd to me that people are kind of sleeping on Charlie Kolar. Like, this is an incredible pick. Like, so freaking good. I'm sorry, this is incredible. I mean, he has just, like, the potential to become what Hayden Hurst was supposed to be for the Ravens. A athletic number 2 tight end who can just add you so much value. Charlie Kolar is an amazing pick. I've gone on long about Charlie Kolar. Alright, let's get to the point. Jordan Stout was really the first pick that made me raise my eyebrows a little bit. Drafting a punter in anywhere beyond the 5th round has always been a bit of a bugaboo for me. I don't know if I particularly like the pick, but it seems like that the Ravens are concerned about Sam Cook's future. He's 40 years old. I don't know. It seems like the Ravens and Sam Cook are unsure if he's going to come back. And, well, I think that would definitely hurt because Sam Cook has been one of the best punters ever. Like, can you name 5 other punters better than Sam Cook? I don't think you can. I don't think I can. I think he's a top 3 punter of all time. And the Ravens, unfortunately, had a little bit of a special teams run here. And the Ravens and other teams were having a special teams run. Like, the Browns took a kicker in the 5th round. Other teams were taking punters and kickers in the 5th and 6th round. And you had a special teams run, so the Ravens had to get the best punter that they feel like was on the board. I know people wanted Matt Araiza from San Diego State as just kind of a funny punter name. He's a cool little player, but Jordan Stout was a better punter. He's punter 1, and I get it. Like, you don't like punter in the 4th or 5th round. I get it, but at the same point, the Ravens had to jump on this now if they needed to get a good punter. Like, I don't really care the fact that they did it. He is a great punter, and I just really think it's a fantastic. I think it's a decent pick. I'll give it a B- because I just don't think a punter in this range can get higher than this grade. I should probably honestly give it a C+, because the value just isn't there for a punter. But the thing is that, like, the special teams run was happening, and the Ravens probably felt pressured to take a punter now if they wanted to get him. Like, speak now or whoever, or forever hold your troops. Like, just like, if you wanted to get him now, you gotta draft him now because he's gonna go later. So I think that's why they felt a little bit pressured to take a punter. I don't really blame them because punters and kickers were going off the board so quickly, and they need to get a punter. They had to get a punter if they felt like that Cook was going to go. If Cook is going to retire, or if they're unsure about Cook's future, number one, that saves them $2.5 million. Very important. But number two, it would leave them without a punter. And as unvaluable as they are, you still need a punter, and you have a coach that values special teams. So, obviously, I think I was fine with it. EDC was having such a good draft anyway that I was sort of just fine with the punter pick. And then we get to Isaiah Likely. So there's been a lot about what exactly Isaiah Likely is. He's listed at tight end, but Eric DaCosta said that he didn't really think Likely was going to be playing full-time tight end. He's a really good tight end. He was a really fun watch at Coastal Carolina. If I watched a lot of great Coastal Carolina, I liked Coastal Carolina. They were trendy. I watched a lot of Grayson McCall, the quarterback from Coastal. He was potentially coming out in next year's draft. So I've seen a lot of Isaiah Likely. He's a very fast, very hard to bring down player. As you can see here, he's first team All Sun Belt Conference. He had 559 receptions for 912 yards. He was averaging 15.5 per catch. That is ridiculous. He was averaging that. I mean, per catch, he had 15.5 yards. Truly incredible. And another thing is that he had offers to play wide receiver. He's built a little bit weird too. Let me see what his built at. He's 6'4", 240 pounds. So, honestly, I think he could be a bit of a weird. He's a bit of a weird scheme. He's a bit of a weird fit because they did draft Charlie Kolar. They drafted Charlie Kolar. So where does Isaiah Likely play? Well, as you can see here, he has a little bit of experience playing wide receiver, and we talked about the need for a wide receiver. And I honestly think he could work it as a wide receiver. And EDC didn't even give him a role during his press conference. He kind of just said that, look, we don't exactly know what Likely is either, but he's going to be playing a lot of different roles for us. And that was a big eye-opener for me. They're going to try him out at wide receiver. And with this team's need for a big-bodied wide receiver, honestly, I don't hate it. Do I think he has the reps to play wide receiver? Probably, maybe not. But I honestly think it's worth giving a shot. This is an A- pick. I really like Isaiah Likely. And it gives them depth at tight end as well. This is such a great pick by the Ravens. Dude, all of these picks are so great. And, I think at this point in the draft, Marion Williams is honestly the first real pick that I have a little bit of, not exactly criticism for. I just didn't really get around to watching him. So you can really only read about somebody so much. I think he has really good height, size. He does not. He's 5'10". So he's around 5'10". He's a little bit older. Looks like he returned kicks and punts. It looks like he's going to be a special team guy going forward. It looks like he had really good stats for Houston. I'm looking at it right now. 2 interceptions, 73 tackles, 5.5 for loss, 7 pass breakups, All-American. honorable mention for the AAC conference selection. I mean, 13 of 20. He was longtime starter, experienced starter, kind of like what the Ravens like. At this point, where we're so deep into the fourth round, you can kind of take shots like this. This seems to be a developmental player that they're kind of just going to throw a red shirt on and potentially see if he can be a special teamer or he can be a decent player down the line. And we'll pass by the fifth round and we'll go head right to the sixth round. Tyler Beatty. I've said that if I had to pick between signing Melvin Ingram or taking a sixth round running back to do the same exact thing, I take the sixth round running back. Tyler Beatty was always a player when I was evaluating my running backs, but I kind of put a purple star on. And the purple star is basically what I feel like are late round selections that fit the Ravens really well. Beatty was one of the guys that got the purple star for me. He was a purple and black star guy for me. He's a very big, massive human being. He's more like he's a little bit shorter than I thought he was. He's 5'7", 199 pounds. But he's a really physical runner. Like, he's not tall, but he's built like a bowling block. Like, he's just built like he's just kind of built and very big and very strong. Like, there was one highlight where I forgot what team it was, but Beatty just kind of was running and two defenders kind of tried to bring him down, tried to go for the football, and Beatty just kept on moving through the pile and just kind of started to go, and like a missed tackle happened, and then he just kind of kept on running and running and running. Tyler Beatty is a pretty hard player to bring down. He just fits like what the Ravens like to do as this powerful runner. And if you're gonna ask Melvin Gordon to do that, and you're gonna have to pay Melvin Gordon $3 million to do that, well, you know what? At that point, just give me Tyler Beatty in the sixth round. I'm sorry, Melvin Gordon's a good player, but so is Tyler Beatty. Like, you gotta understand. Excuse me. You have to understand positional value. He's also looks like he's pretty good at kick returning. He's not exactly a guy that has gotten a lot of touchdowns, but for a sixth round pick, you don't really expect that. He has a change of pace back. He's almost built kind of like Gus Edwards, where he's not particularly tall, but he's so built that he's just gonna run you the F over. And with J.K. Dobbins and Gus Edwards not being statuses are kind of unknown at this point, whether or not they'll be ready to go after ACL tears. Like, Tyler Beatty was great value, and we know what the Ravens feel about Tyson Williams, and Tyler Beatty is practically a perfect fit for them. This is what they want to do. They want to get back to their identity of being a running team that survives over the middle while also using Lamar Jackson's legs. This is what they want to be with Greg Roman. And they've tried it for the last 2 years to try and find a hybrid of the two schemes, of a more modern passing game and with Greg Roman's run and pound game. It's had mixed results. The first half of the season last year, it was amazing. Well, the second half of the season last year was incredibly awful. So, really, this was an incredible draft. Just to go through and really look at how many A's I gave in this draft. Kyle Hamilton pick, A. Like, yes, he doesn't really have... Yes, his role is maybe not as defined as you really want it to be, but I think he is going to start a lot of games for the Ravens year one. And another thing is that, Chuck Clark has an out of his contract after next year. So going forward, he's going to be the starting strong safety next year, next to, behind Marcus Williams. And this team is going to have to find some ways to save money with Lamar Jackson's massive contract extension looming over the Ravens. They're going to have to find every which way to save money. And one of the ways to find money could be cutting Chuck Clark going into next year. Kyle Hamilton was a fantastic pick, A-. Tyler Linderbaum, A. Not exactly the best scheme fit in the world, but was such a damn good prospect I don't really care. He's a very good run blocker. He's a great pass protector. Had one of the highest run blocking grades according to PFF. Yes, he's not exactly the best scheme fit in the world, but it was good value at pick 25. He's a really good, fun prospect to watch. He's super strong, super built. Tyler Linderbaum was a great pick and ended off a great day one for the Ravens. Day 2, one of the best day 2s I've ever seen from the Ravens franchise. David Ajabo. I've talked about how much I love David Ajabo. The culture fit, the Harbaugh connection, the Mike McDaniel connection, the Odafe Owe connection. The fact that the Ravens need pass rush help now. And yes, you're not going to be able to get it now, but he is expected to play his rookie season. We don't exactly know when that's going to be, but if Ajabo makes an impact down the line for the Ravens as the season goes along, and you're knee-deep in November and you need to get some hard wins, and Ajabo can help that, already it's an amazing pick, but going forward, it's going to be an even better pick, because it's going to allow the Ravens to do a lot with their edge group, and Ajabo gets to be with his guy Odafe Owe. Best friends reunited again, reunited with Mike McDaniel. He's a hard worker. It's an incredible pick, A+ pick all around. Travis Jones, A+ pick. Very versatile defensive lineman. I had him as a second-round prospect going in the second round. I used to pray for him to fall in my mock draft so I could take him. He never fell in my mock drafts. He'd always be going my pick 45. Here he was at pick 76. Ravens draft room was probably laughing their asses off when they found out that they could take him, and they took him. Incredible fit. Travis Jones is an incredible player. Very versatile, can play 3-5, nose tackle. Can also, as a bit of a defensive line rotation, can keep guys like Derek Wolfe and Calais Campbell and Michael Pierce fresh. You can have snaps where, Justin Madubuike, Broderick Washington, and now Travis Jones can now be on the field at the same time, while Derek Wolfe, Michael Pierce, and Calais Campbell rest their legs. These guys are getting older. The Ravens have said that they want to get younger on the defensive line. And Travis Jones is a perfect way to do that. Incredible pick, A+ pick. Daniel Faalele, A+++++ pick. Second round prospect in the 4th. Is an incredible pick. Developmental tackle, future starter for the Baltimore Ravens. Very Orlando Brown Jr.-esque. Where they take this massive human being and just pop him into the Ravens scheme and just hope it works. I think it's going to work out. The Ravens don't need him to start this year. They have Stanley coming back healthy. They have Morgan Moses coming back. If Stanley can't go, McCarty's probably going to be rocking that left tackle spot. The Ravens have so much depth in their offensive line. I honestly think they have successfully built a wall for Lamar Jackson. They have done it. If EDC's main goal in this whole entire offseason was to fix the offensive line, I think he's accomplished that goal. I don't know about you guys, but I personally think he's accomplished that goal. A+ pick. Jalen Armour Davis, A- pick, B+. I'm going to give it an A-. He's a talented corner prospect. Injuries, inconsistency are why he had a bit of a fall. But I think he can learn under the Ravens. He can learn from Marcus Peters and Marlon Humphrey. Probably not going to get a lot of starting time this year. Potentially a starting special teams reps for Jalen Armour Davis. But a perfect Anthony Averett replacement. Charlie Kolar, A+ pick. The best receiving tight end the Ravens have had since Hayden Hurst. This is an incredible value, incredible fit for what the Ravens like to do. He gets to work under Mark Andrews. An incredible fit here for the Ravens. Jordan Stout, kind of a weird pick. I'll give it a C-. It does drop the grade down a little bit because punters usually shouldn't go in the 4th. But you know what? The value, the run on kickers and punters were happening. The Ravens had to draft him then if you wanted to get him. They were probably worried about some other team jumping up to get some of these punters. Yes, Matt Araiza went in the 7th round, but honestly, with the way that some other kickers were going and punters were already going, I didn't particularly mind it all that much. It's still a C- pick, C+ pick, because I just can't give a higher grade to a punter before the 5th round. But it's a solid little pick. Isaiah White, especially with Sam Cook's potential retirement coming soon. Isaiah Likely, really, really fun player to watch. Super fast, super hard to bring down. Potential wide receiver, tight end hybrid coming in. We don't exactly know what role he's going to play, but he's an amazing pick in the 4th round. And especially more receiving depth at tight end, which the Ravens have kind of needed. Marion Williams, special teamer, developmental corner in the late end of the 4th round. Don't exactly mind it. I potentially would have gone Zion McCollum, but if the worst thing about this draft is a developmental corner in the end of the 4th round, I don't really care. Round 6, Tyler Beatty, great pick. Probably going to give it an A-. Like, if you wanted to get a running back like this, I don't think you were going to be able to get one on the UDFA market. And that's another thing I need to mention. The Ravens have kind of signed a lot of UDFAs, especially the one that I think is going to be pretty popular in Slade Bolden out of Alabama. He has signed with the Ravens. They're looking to get a lot of wide receiving depth through the UDFA market, signing big guys who can catch, potential just dart throws at the board. And Tyler Beatty really fits their scheme. He's a potential Gus Edwards replacement if the team has to move on from him next year when they have to pay Lamar Jackson. So that is it, ladies and gentlemen. This is potentially the best draft I've ever seen EDC do. Without a doubt, the best draft I've seen EDC do. One of the best drafts I've ever seen from a Ravens front office. Incredible value all across the board. Incredible players all across the board. Nearly every single pick has gotten an A or higher from me. Let's see. A+, 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 B+, A+, C, A+, C+, A-. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 picks out of the what? 1. So out of the Out of the 11 picks, like, nearly 10 of them, only 2 picks didn't get A's. That's incredible value. Ravens got insane value. This is an incredible draft. Overall, I'm insanely happy for this draft. The Ravens have set themselves up to have a wonderful future with this draft. And I'm not gonna let Hollywood Brown, 5'9" wide receiver who dropped a ton of passes last year, who had to get fed the ball consistently in order to get over 1,000 yards, get in the way of this amazing draft. Yes, the Ravens have wide receiver needs. They can fill that in free agency and through the UDFA market. Honestly, this is an amazing draft. I'm not letting Hollywood Brown lower this grade. This is an A+ draft all around. I only really didn't like 2 picks. I didn't like 2 picks. And one of them I was fine with the player in Stout. I just didn't like the value. The other I just didn't even watch in Marion Williams. So if 2 out of 8, that's an 80% A. It's still an A plus. It's still an A minus A plus draft. It's an A plus draft. It's an incredible draft. This draft is, simply put, amazing. Alright guys, I've gushed about this draft for far too long. I'm just so happy the Ravens were able to pull this off. I love this draft so much. And with that all said, guys, I'll see you next time for my next video. Please like and subscribe, leave a comment if you agree, and I will see you guys next time. Thank you very much.